favorite internet platform streaming live.
It is another episode of Say It Loud with your favorite Gilf here, Karen L. in the Say It Loud seat. And today joining me is Keisha Mayo, who is a singer, a author, and a whole bunch of other wonderful things that she is going to share with us today. Hello, Keisha. How are you?
Hi, Karen. How are you? And thank you so much for inviting me on this wonderful show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you here because I really do feel like we have so much to talk about and so much to celebrate. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you?
Hi, well, my name, like she said, is Keisha Mayo. I'm a retired correction officer. I'm an author of the book, this best-selling book called Deceive, which is my testimony of what I went through and how I overcame deception in my marriage. I'm a fashion designer. I make clothes. She stated I sing as well. I have a new talk show called The Key West Show. So that's just me. You know, God has given me some talents and I'm just taking them and running with them.
Keisha, you are so sweet and humble because you're like, that's it. That's just me. And I'm like, okay, but we got the eyewear, right? And the fashion and the music and the book and the TV show. There's like and the fact that you were a New York City, right? Correction officer,
Yes.
which I think has a lot to do with who we are as people, what we do and how we do it and those experiences that you have. But let's talk about the book first, Deception, and the experience. There's a lot of women who listen to the show and men who have gone through one, deception, and two, divorce. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write the book.
Well, my story is a little different. You know, people become authors because they want to. That's not something that I wanted to do. When I was going through it, you know, growing up shy and, you know, not wanting to, you know, worry my family, I never told anyone what I was going through. So my outlet and the therapy, you know, was writing. So one day God had me sit down and I wrote my whole story out and I put it away, never to pick it up again. And maybe about 10 years or so later, I was in a bad car accident and I remember hearing God speak to me saying, pick the book up. And at the time I'm going, for what? I ain't telling nobody this story. Like, I don't want nobody to know that about me. You know, I was content with everybody, you know, hiding behind the clothes because I was always going through my little depressions and stuff like that. People not understanding me, but they didn't know what I went through and what I was going through. You know, I was fighting with God and I'm like, I don't want to tell nobody that. And I, you know, just didn't think about it again. And then I remember one day I was coming home from work and at that time, I had 3 bookshelves full of books. And when I walked through the door, because at this time I went back to work, he directed me to a hard copy that I don't even remember printing out. Like I remember typing it up and that was it. And I said, you know what? God is not playing with me because I had it on a jump drive. And I need to backtrack. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little nervous. I had it on a jump drive. And when I plugged it in the computer, I said, "Oh, good." It didn't come up, and I was happy because I'm like, I didn't want to do it anyway. But then he kept pressing my spirit, so I went to my mother's house. I put it in her jump drive. It didn't come up, and then that's when later on I came home from work and he directed me to a copy, and I'm like, where this came from,
right?
You know, and it was at that point that I realized, okay, it wasn't about me. It was about me reaching out and helping others.
Right.
And once I realized, you know, that I'm not going to be the first and I'm not going to be the last to be deceived, you know, I said, you know what, God, I hear you. And what I did was it was a young lady in the building where I lived at that time. And she retyped the whole book and there was parts that was missing. And I said, you know what? If you know your story, you know your story. I plugged it in and I just, you know, just moved forward. I mean, and everything just fell in place, Karen. It was like, you know, she typed it. One of my friends that I used to sing with, because I used to sing with the Kiss FM choir 98.7. He
Nice.
ended up being a publisher. So I reached out to him and I mean, God just took off. Once I said, okay, you got my attention. It's not about me. I mean, things just took off. I was in Barnes and Nobles within 3-4 months of the book coming out. I look at now how I've been in Barnes and Nobles 44 times on a book tour. on Times Square, billboard twice. And I'm saying, my God, just by this testimony. But, I'm just so grateful to God, because sometimes I sit in Barnes and Nobles, and we talked about this before the show, how, our life, sometimes you could think you're the only one going through things. But I sit in there and there'll be, ladies coming in saying, oh my God, I don't even come in here. What made me come in here? But I'm going through that now. And then now I get the chance to minister, to say, you know what? I've been through it, but look at me. God brought me out, so this was a testimony that God used for me, that I had to go through to help other people. And I'm just excited with the journey. This is something I never wanted to do. I didn't want to become an author. I thought I was going to be somebody's background singer. That's what I thought. But God had other plans. So I went with his plans. And I tell you, his plans are just paving the way, and I thank God that I'm still in my right mind. When we go through certain things, and like I said, I went through it by myself, and that's the enemy's playground, because then he'll start beating you over your head, making you want to commit suicide. You're the only one going through it. So I do thank God for my upbringing too, for my family, for my grandmother being, saved, sanctified, and a powerful woman of God, my mother as well, because I believe that it was their prayers and, of course, God that kept me. Because when you go through things by yourself, you have to talk about it. And that's one of the things I encourage people. I probably would have been out of it sooner if I just opened my mouth. We go through things that we tend to hide. I don't want to know. I just want them to see I'm looking good. Oh, I sing, or I do this, I do that. No, it's not about that. And, we don't want to be phony. We want to be real, and that's how we can touch the hearts of others, by being real. And so I say, after saying all of that, God inspired me to do it. And it was for a reason. I had to go through it for a reason. It's for the people that I'm reaching and that I'm touching now.
Yeah, I love that story, Keisha. I think that the whole time you were talking, I was thinking about my mom, because my mom always says that when it's God planned, there's not going to be any obstacles.
Yes.
That's what she always tells me. She was like, if you're facing obstacles, then that's not what God wants for you. But if you do something and there's no obstacles, then that's what you're supposed to be doing. She always tells me, if there's 1, 2, 3 things come up, then she's like, so you see, now's not the time, or this is not right. And so when you're sitting and you're like, it just kind of happened in a matter of months, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like how in tune were you to listen though?
Well, like I said, I was fighting it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, that, I never thought about being an author. And I never thought about telling that story.
Yeah.
I thought that was something that would go to the grave with me, because how do you tell someone that, all of your friends are happily married and starting families, and here you are going through this, but you can't tell them. You don't want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
You just putting on the front like all is well, lovely marriage. And that's the thing that, we need to stop doing. We can spare ourselves so much pain and suffering by ourselves if we just talk to somebody, because you better believe somebody done been through it already. The Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun. And if I'm talking too much, Karen, you
no, go. I'm listening, because I feel like I'm at church today, and I feel like you're talking to me, because I went through the same situation, and for years I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone, and I lived with it, and I pretended when I was outside that everything was okay and that life looked good, and we have our children and we have our home and we have our cars and everything looked good to everybody else. But it's also, I think there's a couple things. There's a very hard one to admit things when you say it, because I'm religious, but I'm more spiritual, and when you say it, it makes things real. And sometimes people would rather not say anything because they don't want to make it real. That's one. Two, you become vulnerable again. And you're already hurting, and now I'm vulnerable again. And so a lot of times women don't want to say, because they're like, all right, I'm already in this pain, and now I'm going to be vulnerable, and somebody else is going to just make that pain worse. And then there's shame. There's shame. Shame is like... Shame and embarrassment is like bigger than the other two, because you feel like it's your fault. And so somewhere along the line, you're feeling the shame really that somebody else should be carrying, but that's a whole nother show, right? You carry, because that's what it is. You're carrying somebody else's behaviors and their shame.
Right.
They should be ashamed of themselves. You
Right.
shouldn't be ashamed. But
Mhm.
somehow, as the woman in that situation, you feel ashamed. And so you don't want to tell anybody
Right.
about
And-
things like that.
yeah. And then you saying, why me? You
Yeah.
feel like you're a good person. I always grew up shy, quiet,
Hmm.
never wanted to really talk. That was just me. That was my personality. And sometimes I could get like that, but I laugh now.
Yeah.
After being a correction officer, I got a little more vocal.
Yeah.
you know, but I still go back in that shell at times.
Yeah.
So growing up quiet, you just don't talk about things. But I I tell you, I'm just so grateful because you look back at the things that you went through over your life and just to see how far you've come,
Hmm.
and that shame and embarrassment that we talked about, it can't hold nothing over your head anymore.
No.
Because now it's out there.
No.
Because
Yep.
now you're not hiding nothing. You're not praying that nobody finds out. Now it's out
Hmm.
there. So you can't say you got something over on me because I done told it myself. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it was hard in the very beginning because I never wanted to share that story. But yeah, it has to be told. And I believe we go through things for a reason because God knew that we were strong enough to handle it. See,
Hmm.
somebody else would have jumped off the bridge.
Hmm.
Somebody else would have committed suicide. But he said, okay, let me choose this daughter because although she may get down sometime and she may feel like she's at the end of the rope, she gonna pop back right back up with that strength
Hmm.
that I'm gonna give her, and she
Hmm.
gonna use that strength to be an encouragement to somebody else who may be going through that same thing. He knows who to choose to go through certain things who can be a help to others.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And who he's going to give a voice to, because that's what you are now, Keisha. You're a voice for all of those other people that don't or didn't have a voice while facing the same thing. It's crazy once you let your vulnerability out and you tell your story, how many people show
Mhm,
up in your life and
mhm.
tell you, like, oh my God, I've been through the same thing. I
Right.
understand. I went through this. I know what you're talking. You would be surprised. And it's like, yo, I've known you how long? Or I've never known you, or have you never
Yeah,
spoken to me? We don't
yeah,
know each. And now all of a sudden you're like, wow, there's this community of people
yeah.
who are actually looking to me and people like you to go, oh my gosh, you told a story that I never was able to tell.
And that's what I got. I just saw someone last week, not too far from my house, and I believe she got married maybe about 2 years ago. And she
Hmm.
said, "You're not gonna believe it. I've been deceived." Now, this
Hmm.
is just a week ago or so. I saw her. So people are still going through it.
Right.
And God used me, like you said, as that voice, to help others to say, listen, you can make it in
Right.
spite of what you may go through. You're not gonna, the Bible says we go through different things, sadness, happiness. We go through different emotions. The thing is not to stay in that negative emotion.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna be sad. Yeah, we're gonna be angry. But you know what? Once we go through that, now we're gonna
Hmm.
be happy because God is going to use us to bless somebody else, and just to see you help somebody else, because that's what
Right.
this life is about. This walk is about helping somebody else, not for you to be knocking people down to try to get to the top where you're trying to go. No, but it's
Hmm.
about helping others. And that's where I'm so grateful. And when I talked about Barnes and Nobles, I like to tell this story because I said how quickly God has, opened doors for me to be a new author. And 4 months in, I'm in Barnes and Nobles. And before the Barnes and Nobles closed in Co-op City, TD Jakes was there one week.
Wow.
I was there the next week, and then Joel Osteen. So I said,
Wow.
I done got in
That's
between
good
these
company. Keisha, you in good company. Very, very good company. That's amazing, though. That's amazing, even in 4 months. You know how many people waiting to get in Barnes and Nobles and can't get in there?
Yes.
There's only so many books they put on the shelf.
Yes. And I like to say that I really don't believe nobody been in Barnes and Nobles 44 times.
Right.
And if they can say that, show me.
Right.
Or I would like to see it. But this
Yeah.
is just some of the things that I'm saying that it's nothing, it has nothing to do with bragging. It has to do with once you say yes, that it's about you helping others, that's when
Yeah.
the doors begin to open. you know, because like I said, I was a correction officer, and I was blackballed for 11 years because I wouldn't take a charge for someone. And I had to go through that, being retaliated against, harassed. And that was 11 years of hell.
Wow, that's a long
And in
time.
the midst of that, I like to say, even though Deceive wasn't that much better, but I feel like Deceive saved my life.
It
Because
did.
it saved my life, because people at one point thought that I quit the job because they would see me doing so much traveling, going here and there with Deceive. And I'm saying, so God used that, although I went through it, he used that to keep my mind,
Yeah,
because
well,
of what I was dealing with day to day on this job.
but Keisha,
So,
if you didn't go through it, you wouldn't have a story to write.
yeah, you're right.
That's how I look at it. I know a bunch of women, including you, and I just met you, that had you not gone through what you went through, you wouldn't be the woman you are today. And
Right.
so as much as we celebrate the accolades, we also have to celebrate the things that make you grow. Right? And that's how I look at it. Like I don't hold any anger or animosity in my life for the things that I've been through. Some of it was my choices, some of it wasn't. But I know where I'm standing today. In the success, in the health, in the harmony, in the peace, in the contentment, in the joy. I know where I am today. Right. I couldn't stand here and receive it that way and be where I am had I not, had to grow through the little muddy water. That's it, just a little muddy water. Ain't nothing much.
Take it off, right?
Just shake it off. But you need something to write about, right? You need a story to tell. And so if you can't tell the story from outside, you got to tell the story from inside. So if you didn't have that experience, as tough as it is, the reality is if we don't have those kinds of experiences, it makes it a lot harder for us to empathize, to sympathize with people, and to be able to tell a story as organically and naturally if you didn't live it.
Right. You're right.
That's how I think that's why I can show people so much empathy. Because when you experience something and then someone tells you, you can understand, it resonates with you. And so you're able to have that conversation and really understand and see their pain, their joy, their growth, all of those things, because you yourself have lived it.
Right. And you can say, I've been there and this is how I came out.
Yeah.
Or, this is what helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you consider writing again, or is this going to be it?
No, I have a few more books that's just sitting waiting to be released.
So maybe God knows what the plan is way more than you do, because you managed to write them. You did write them.
Yeah, the thing is, for the books that I'm waiting to be I met an author some years ago, and he had about 10 books, and he said to me, don't let nobody rush you into just throwing books out there. He said, if this one book is working for you, you ride this thing till the wheels fall off.
That's right.
So I'm saying, this book has came out some years ago, and it's still like, I still got upcoming dates at different Barnes and Nobles, just looking at how he had me on Times Square billboard twice. And even I have a story for that too, which is funny. But he said, just don't throw it out. And plus, I have to wait for certain things before I can release it. But I didn't want to just be throwing books out there when I know this one is like being a major help to so many people. So I'm just waiting for God's timing to put it out there. But I have the books. They just waiting to say, listen.
But you're still writing. But you're still writing.
Yes, I'm still writing.
So what inspires you now to write? What's that process like for you?
Honestly, it's like, I think it was prophesied to me about how many books I was going to write, which is funny. And I don't know, like Deceive has part 2. This other book I have, it has 3 parts to it. Then I wanted to do God gives me what to write about, and then sometimes I could just sit and I'll start it and then I can't stop. So
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of just starting, and then, it's like you just get inspired and you keep going. Like
Yeah.
I wrote a play in 3 days. And
Wow.
I didn't even plan on writing the play. Oh, that's another thing I didn't tell you. I actually have a stage play to the book as well.
Wow.
Because I was asking God, I said, man, with the lives that he's allowing me to touch, what are some other ways that I can reach people? Because I
Right.
remember a guy at my job, he said, Keisha, I don't read, but I'm just buying the book to support you. So that stuck with me. And I said, well, somebody needs this message that don't like reading. So
Right.
what other way can I reach them? And he put the play in my
Right.
spirit. And then that's when I ran with that. I did the movie to the book, which is
Wow.
also on my website. So I did that. So he had me doing things that I've never done before. I mean, never thought about doing a play, never thought, like I said, never thought about being an author, never thought about doing a movie, but he had me do it and accomplishing these things on my own, and now I'm to the point where I'm praying that the movie, somebody would take it and do it on a larger scale,
I'm pretty sure they would. There's
but
a lot of options with movies now. Like it don't have to be in the movie theater. You could do Netflix now. You could do Roku, Amazon. Like movies are thriving just because there's so many means to tap into them with social media and internet and downloading and all that kind of stuff. So you got a lot of options there as far as how you grow that, because it's not impossible. It's really not. It's right there. Like you're right there, So that's amazing though, Keisha. So you have, let's talk about the show you have coming, because you're doing the movie, you got the books, but let's talk about your show.
The Keyway Show. Now that's another thing that it was prophesied to me about 8 years ago. I went to this church and she was speaking into my life, and she said, I see you doing a TV show. And at that time, I remember laughing within myself, because I'm like, yeah, okay, because I don't even talk. So you must be thinking about something else. I said, you must be thinking about something else, because I don't even talk. And here we are 8 years later. I'm sitting in my living room and I said, I think I'm going to do a talk show.
You weren't ready at the time, but somebody else knew.
Yes. And so I did it. I mean, and it's new, but it's just an amazing journey, because I didn't see myself. I mean, even the opening, like if you see the opening, I made all my clothes except for 2 of them, because I crochet clothes.
Okay.
Where I have the company called Keyway Fashions. So I did that, and I sung the song to it. My mother did, the backgrounds with me. My friend Peter Wayne, he's a singer. We all 3 collab and wrote the theme song, and then we had Darren who produced it. Darren Jenkins, he produced it. And I mean, just to see how God is allowing me to do things that I never thought about doing or didn't think I could do it, but he's making it happen. And, just seeing the guests so far, having the 90s group Allure, the mayor of Newburgh. And I'm saying, God, you opening these doors, and it's just amazing. But I'm enjoying it. And like we talked about, we still get nervous. We still get, and I'm still like that. And they'll say, nervous where? You seem like you've been doing this a while. And I'm like, no, I haven't. I just started. But it's just exciting, and now that, I'm no longer working with corrections, this is giving me that joy, because when you go through things in life, you don't forget it. When it comes up, it takes you back to that place. Right. So sometimes I have to go back to that place. And, it's things like this that keeps me going, saying, you know what, that may have happened to me, but look where I'm at now. Look where God has brought me, and look where he's continuing to take me. So I'm excited about the Keyway Show. And it comes on in the Bronx. It comes on in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. And then if you miss the show when it airs, I'll upload it to my YouTube channel.
Nice. So it's like a talk show?
Talk show. Mm-hmm.
All right. And so every week, does it come out every week?
In the Bronx, it comes on every week. In Brooklyn, starting July, it'll be every week, and Manhattan and Queens is once a month. Because I just started, I didn't know. I'm like, I don't know if I could do it or not.
Yeah.
But then I just started changing it up. So the Bronx is every week, and Brooklyn, and just starting July, it'll be every week. And then I'll get up to the other two, because I'm doing so much and I'm doing it by myself.
Yeah.
So
No, I
I
understand.
don't have a team. You know who's my team? My mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my team. So I just try, to do what I can, and I try to get teams, but everybody don't work like you.
Right.
When you call them, did you do this? Oh, I'm getting ready to eat. I'll do it when I finish. Oh, did you do that? Oh, I just woke up. And then it was like, you know what, forget it.
Yeah.
So
I'm worse. Because you're just like, did you do this? I'm like, if I do it myself as a person, it would be me. Because when it's also your baby,
yes,
people don't treat it the same way.
Yes.
It ain't their baby. It's your baby. So you're going to get up in the morning. You're going to make sure it's done. You're going to make sure it's done right. Somebody else is going to get around to it when they get around to it, and they're going to throw something together and see what sticks. And that don't work for me.
Me neither. So I just do it myself, because I can't.
Yeah, I have a hard time. Yeah, for real. I have a hard time relinquishing control if you're not going to do it the way I'm going to do it. You know, so I definitely understand how that feels as far as a team is concerned. And also, like, this must bring you some joy.
It does.
So that, you continue to do it and be happy about it. Who is one person you would love to work with right now?
Ooh, Tyler Perry. And that's because of my plays. And you know what? My church just made me, this is another thing on my plate. My church just made me the director of the drama department. So I'm actually getting ready to do a play. I'm actually getting ready to do a play in July. So it's like, that's something that I really want to get into. And I tell you, when you're acting, it just makes you want to do more. I'm acting. I'm like, okay, I want to get in the movie, and it's a blessing, because one of my old co-workers called me yesterday to see if I would help him, because he's doing a movie. If I would, play one of the extras or whatever, and I'm like, sure, But it's just something exciting. So I would love to work with him, and it's funny. I even went out to Atlanta last year and stood right in front of the place. I said, I couldn't get in, but that's okay. I'm here.
For now.
You gotta speak it.
You gotta speak it.
Right.
You gotta speak it. You never know. 8 years from now, you might be standing out there, standing inside. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. You gotta speak it, and you gotta just believe it. I'm a big believer, and you gotta believe it. If you believe it, then everybody else will believe it. Right. And then it will just move that way. You also sing.
Yes.
So how has music influenced your life, like helped during your life and the things that you're going through?
Well, music has been a blessing in my life and helped me through a lot of stuff. Growing up in the church and singing in different choirs. And I never forget the first time I sung a song, because I told you I was shy. It's like just extremely shy. And I remember my cousin, we was trying out we wasn't trying out, but we was challenging each other. And she said, if you go try out for that song, she said, then I'll do it. And I said, no, I ain't doing it. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I went up there, and then they were like, oh my God, you sitting on that gift. And ever since then, I've been singing. So singing, with the Kiss FM choir, who, exposed us to a lot of things, back and singing back up for Kirk Franklin years ago, and Yolanda Adams and James Moore. Just that exposed us to a lot of, artists, and it gave you that excitement.
Yeah.
I ended up doing my own single called I Believe God, which is on iTunes. And then I just began to write, because my mother is heavily in music too. She writes a lot and she sings. And I said, Dad, why I can't be like you, Mom? I mean, she just get out there and break out. Me, I'm like, I go through changes, But so yeah, music has really been a blessing in my life. And yeah, I just get inspired, and I just write. I write, like, I have 4 songs done, completed for the album that I'm trying to do. And so yeah, I'm gonna continue with the music. I put most of the music in my mom wrote, because my mom also has, well, she has 2 CDs out there. And what she does, which is a blessing, she used all them artists that
Mhm.
we know can sing, but they don't get the opportunity, they don't
Yeah,
get that big break. And I mean, just awesome singers, and she uses them, and she's been doing an awesome job. So I think I get everything from her, because she was in theater too, so she done passed it. And I'm the
right.
youngest of the family. So, we're
Yeah.
like this, and she just passed it on down to me.
That's
So yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful that your mom is so influential in your life, and
Yeah.
that your talents and the things you enjoy, you're able to share it with each other.
Yes.
That's really important. So Keisha, I'm listening to you talk, and you got like an album, you got music, you got movies, you got books, you got a clothing line. How do you self-care?
Some days I just don't pick up the computer.
Mhm.
I'll watch a movie. It has to be a comedy. I like to go for long drives. I don't need to know where I'm going, just drive, just get that, like, where I live, driving where I live is just trees. I just need that peace, because when you're coming from, again, I'm don't I hate keep bringing it up, but when you're coming from a job where it's banging, screaming, yelling, this and that and that,
Yeah.
and then going through what I went through, when I left there, I knew I needed that peace,
Right.
So I have to have those days where I could just relax
Right.
and and stay away from the computer, stop trying to do this, and make these connections, just take a day to myself, and relax. So that's my self-care, is relaxing, having time to relax, which is not often, because I'm always in my head. Oh,
Right.
I'm gonna do this, I gotta do this, oh, I gotta do that. So I think I'm getting ready to go away so I can relax.
Yes, and you deserve it. My next question to you is like, with the music and
Mhm.
writing, and with the books and writing, and with the play and writing, how do you stay like, I don't know, sometimes I struggle with being, I don't know what the word is, it escapes me right now, but like I can't think of anything. It's like I almost get
Writer's block.
writer's block,
Writer's
or I
block.
can't be funny right now. I'm
Mhm.
waiting for something to come that just, enlightens me or influences me. But sometimes I get stuck. I tell people that all the time. And I tell people, talking like I do and writing and telling jokes and all the things that I do, that when I don't feel that, it's hard for me to do. So how do you like stay with like something to write about and something to sing about, and like how do you get that influence into your life, so like, all right, this is what I need to do?
Well, one, you just got to step away. That's what I do. If I sit down and say, "Oh, I'm gonna write this play or whatever," and I'm getting writer's block and I'm not coming up with anything, we can't force it, because it's
Mhm.
not gonna come that way. So what I do is I step away, and then when I get inspired, then that's when I sit down. Like, mine's come through. I say, it's inspiration from God, because
Mhm.
it seems like every time I sit down, if I start, then I can't stop. You
Right.
know, but I do have the writer's block. But what I do is I try not to force it, because you want to make sure this is something that's gonna reach the people. You don't want to just throw something together
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, I wrote this." You want to make sure it's gonna be something that's gonna touch the heart, or whatever message you're trying to get that message
Mhm.
across, and you want it to come across the right way, not just throwing anything together. So when I get to that point, because that has happened, I just step away from it and go to something else and come back. And then at that time, once you start, you just can't stop. Things are just
Right.
coming to you.
Yeah. That
Mhm.
that's why I struggle with that sometimes, when I'm going too hard and I'm like, I gotta
Mhm.
do this by this date, and then the date will come, I'll be like, I got nothing.
Right.
I got
Mhm.
nothing. I'm waiting to be inspired. And I noticed with myself that when I'm not out, when I'm too stressed or I'm not out in nature, I'm not resting or doing my self-care, then I don't get inspired. It's almost like I can't receive the message
Right.
if I'm not still enough somewhere to
Mm-hmm.
receive the message.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know?
When you got too much on your mind and too much
Yeah.
you're thinking about, because sometimes you can sit there and you're thinking about this and you're like, oh, I was supposed to call this one. So now your mind, you just got
Mm-hmm.
so much, we could somehow just block everything out and just sit, like you said, and just get that message, that we need to keep moving. But when you just have so much going on, it can really be a hindrance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I know we need that, but I'm trying to recognize it
Mm-hmm.
so that I understand it. And so I know when I'm feeling it and I know what to do. Because I think we're in a society now where everybody's like booked and busy, booked and busy, booked and busy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
for me running a company, and I'm sure you running multiple projects, you're like, well, if I'm that busy, I can't be that good at what I need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so
Right.
I had to learn that. I had to learn how to balance that out.
Because sometimes I'm doing so much that I'm like, oh, I forgot to do this. Now you rushing to try to do that, and you missing stuff. It can be a lot on your plate, and you try to make it happen. But yeah, sometimes it could be a little overwhelming. But you just
You do
try
what
to
you got
keep
to do.
pushing. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to the book Deceived, but not talk about the book because I want people to go and read it. But I
Mm-hmm.
do want to empower women that after an experience like that, and you got to go read the book, by the way, for the people listening. Do you think people can find love again and heal and kind of move from that space to a different space?
I believe they definitely can find love again. Um, I believe it sets what you go through sometimes sets you up for, and again, I'm not into the getting married so many times because I was raised, you get married once. But whatever you choose to do, I believe that there is love out there.
Mhm.
You just have to, forgive yourself, forgive the person. You can't hold on to anger and you can't hold on to hurt. You got so many people, they so mad with, their spouse or ex-spouse that, they hate them, they turn the kids against them. You'll never be blessed that way. If you
Mhm.
can forgive within your heart, and you never know. Sometimes God can bring you back
People
together.
back
Maybe
together.
you
That's
needed
right.
that time apart so you could find yourself, he could find himself. And then now, when y'all mentally matured and know what it's like to be in a marriage, he can bring y'all back together as one.
Mhm.
That's, what I would love to see happen more. Not,
Yeah.
back in the days, we say to death do us part, through sickness, through health, through good and bad, and then when bad come, oh, I'm out of here.
Right.
Why did you quote those vows if the first
Mhm.
thing you're gonna do is run? You
Right.
know, you said good or bad. This is bad right now.
Right.
But the bad can always turn to good because nothing stays the same. Things change. But
Right.
I do believe that you can find love again. I don't believe in, you get married and things don't happen like that's the end of the world. That's not the
Mhm.
end of the world. So, just open your heart to love again. Um, but it comes with forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving that other person. And like I said, he could bring them back a new person. Like I can use my mother for an example. I'm sure she won't mind. But my mother and my dad, they were separated for 21 years
Yeah.
and came back together
Yeah.
and married, ever since, he went home to be with the Lord. But things could happen. You just need that time apart because when we get into marriage, depending on how old you were when you got married, we really don't know what it is. We just know
Mhm.
everybody just want to get together. Your friends married. Oh, I'm gonna get married,
Right.
but we're not really, not knowing what marriage and entails and what is called for to be in a healthy marriage. And we just marry just to marry and because following people. But yeah, I believe that you can always find love again. And God can change people's hearts. You
Right.
know, so yeah.
That's a beautiful. I'm glad that you said that because I feel like I want everybody to still feel like they could be empowered and
Mhm.
find love and find contentment, right? And whether you get married again or not, that's
Right.
entirely what you believe. But
Right.
just being able to understand that you're worthy of love.
Yes.
I think that's it for me, to understand that despite anything you have gone through, you are worthy of love
Mhm.
and allowing someone to love you and being
Mhm.
loved and being in a space where you can do that. Because it's really hard after you've been deceived to allow somebody to love you.
Oh boy, do I know.
You know, like after you've been deceived, you're like, okay, and I not only have I been deceived, but I come from New York. So
Right.
like you know, your guard is all the way up. So
All the way up.
I love that you
Mhm.
can see that there is hope for people, and there is joy for people, and there is love for people. How
Yeah.
was corrections?
How was it?
Yeah. How long were you a correction officer?
I was a correction officer for 13 years.
Oh wow. And you like you did you like it?
Um, not you know
I
what?
don't
I
know.
I
I teach
love
New
the
York City
job.
public school, and I'm like, I don't know if I could go in no jail every
Yeah.
day.
See, I worked for the city prior, so I
Mhm,
already had years of city time. So that's
mhm,
how I was able to retire.
mhm.
But I enjoyed the job. The people,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. But that is also the
You got people
society.
that just so hateful,
Mhm.
never had nothing, you come in there, don't look like something, they hate you,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
there dressed up all the time, they hate you, don't
yeah,
like your spirit, you're too nice, they hate you, you
yeah,
smile too much, they hate you,
yeah,
nobody has a mind of their own. This one don't like you, so now that one don't like you. You're not
yeah,
conforming to what they want you to conform to. We hate you,
yeah.
so it was a horrible experience that I had to go through.
Right,
Because like
right.
you said, it made me who I am. It was a part of making me who I am
Mhm,
today.
mhm. I absolutely believe that. I think that the things that happen to us, whether we choose them or they happen for whatever other reason, socioeconomic, our parents, our choices, whatever, they become a part of who we are.
Hmm.
And they could be bad things, but at the end of the day, if you're standing on who you are today and you're like, this is the woman I am, this is the integrity I have, these are the projects that I've done, these are the people that I have helped and
Hmm.
influenced and worked with, and what I want to do, then you have to, you can't just be like, let me just celebrate the good things. You have to also understand that some of those things that hurt you helped you grow. Some of those things that you may have thought stunted you helped you grow. Some of the things that made you cry have made you grow. We just don't know it when we're feeling it. We
Yeah,
don't know that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember waking up one day, Keisha, sitting up in my bed. I swear to God, I woke up this is a very true personal story. I woke up one day, sat up in my bed in my house. I had a nice, beautiful townhouse. I had cars outside. I had everything anybody could think of. And I sat up in my bed one day and I looked around and nobody was in the room. And I was like, I lost everything.
Mm,
I lost everything. My marriage was done. My cars were going to be repossessed. I knew it because my marriage was done. We were done. My
mm,
home was going to go. I literally knew that I was like, the only thing I have left is these children and my health. That was all that I had left. And I left. I left my marriage. I
mhm,
left.
mhm,
I was like, get out. He was like, I'm not leaving. I said, oh, you're going to call me bluff. And I don't
mhm,
bluff. And I
mhm,
packed a bag and I left and I never went back. I was like, you're not going to hold this house over my head or these
mhm,
cars. You're not, there is nothing tangible. Like, you know how bad it is when I tell you that there is nothing tangible
mhm.
other than these kids that you can hold over me. I don't care about no money, no
Right.
house, no car. No, there is nothing in here. You can have it all
Mhm,
because
mhm.
that's how fed up I was.
Right.
That's how fed up I. You can
Mhm.
take it. I will
Right.
buy another house. I will buy
Right.
another car. I will buy more furniture. I will buy more clothes.
Mhm.
Give me my kids, and I'm out.
Right.
But had I not done that, I wouldn't be in this space talking to you right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
or be able to resonate with the women that have had experiences like that.
That's
And I
gone
think
through
that's such a valuable thing, that
it.
you use your vulnerability, you use your weakness, you use your experience, but in that you become so much stronger.
Yes. Yes, you do. And you know that saying when they say you're stronger than you think you are is so true. Because
Yeah.
where we think, we're weak and we can't, do it, or, we just don't want to go on, it's like you just get this burst of strength, to
Hmm.
keep going.
Yeah.
And, it turns from that weak, timid person to now you got to be this strong person for others,
Yeah.
So yeah, we're
That's
stronger
wonderful.
than we think we are. And like you
We
said,
are.
if it wasn't for the things we've gone through, we wouldn't be here, Karen.
That's
You
right.
wouldn't be
That's
doing
right.
what you're doing. And I mean, you're doing some great things. I mean, I'm on here with a celebrity.
I wish. I wish. I'm gonna go clean my bathroom in a minute. I ain't no celebrity.
And
Thank you
that's so
so
funny.
much, Keisha, for coming and sharing your story, sharing the book, sharing your growth, and all of your good energy with all of us. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, social media, website, the movie, the book, all of that good stuff? And you guys, please go out and support.
Thank you. Well, you can, my website is KeishaMayo.com, KeishaMayo.com. You can get the book either on my website, you can get the movie on my website, you can get the book from Barnes and Nobles or Amazon, Facebook, The Real Keisha Mayo, Instagram, The Real Keisha Mayo, and Twitter, The Real Keisha One.
Wow. Thank you,
And
Keisha.
the play, I had it. See, Karen, I had the play on YouTube for so long, and I just took it down because I'm planning on doing it again.
You
So I
should.
don't want them to see it on there, and then they
No,
like, well,
you
wait a
should.
minute,
You
what's the
should. You
play?
should do it again. You should do it with a tour. You should visit different cities. Put the play up there. People will come out. Do
Karen,
the
that
book
was my
signing.
plan. That was
No,
my
that
plan.
was
I did it
that
one
was.
time, and then the job messed me up, and they stuck me in the building 16 hours a day for 2 months
Yeah,
straight, and they
that's all
tried
right.
to block everything. But
That
that's
is the
okay. It's
plan.
God's timing.
That's all right, because this time is bigger and better. It's not on their time, it's on your time. The
Right.
book tour gonna come, the play tour is gonna come, all of that good stuff.
Yes.
I am rooting for you, Keisha. I
Thank you,
think that you're
Karen.
doing so much wonderful work by sharing all of your stories and writing and being so effortless and graceful doing it at the same time. And I'm so impressed. I'm just impressed. I love to be around good people and good energy.
Thank you, Karen. And I
Thank you so much.
appreciate you having me on the show. I really had a good time, and you have been a wonderful host, and I
Oh, thank
appreciate
you. Thank you so much.
that.